Well, good morning, and welcome to another little video on the road. And I don't really know what to make this video about. It doesn't have a subject. I sort of haven't made one for a while. I guess relationships. I had a text this morning from an old mate whose missus has left him for somebody else, and he's obviously got his shackles up, and it's one of those situations that's just part of everyday life, you know, like everybody, it happens to everybody. It's happened to me several times, and the nature of the beast on earth is change and learning to go with changes, and to read the signs for changes is part and parcel of learning to maintain your own sense of self and your own sense of inner peace. And what happens, I think, generally when you have been in a long-term relationship especially, and that person leaves you or something happens, you lose a sense of self. You, like, part of you dies, you know, and it's always that part that you've invested in the other person, as an idea of this person completes me, or this person's my other half, or fulfills me, which is why we're always told to love ourselves first before we can love anyone else, and to find ourselves first, to find who we are, and feel complete within ourselves before we get into a relationship with others. Otherwise, we're going into a relationship with an incomplete sense of self, and you know, or going into it damaged from a past relationship. So healing yourself and finding yourself and all of that stuff, it's an ongoing process that it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together in some regards. And I know that doesn't sound particularly exciting, but you try a piece here and a piece there and it doesn't fit, and you take it out and you put it somewhere else, and little by little you start to get an idea of the picture of the thing that you are. And the spiritual path is much like that. Sometimes it's 2 steps back before you can take 1 step forward, and there's no way around it. You know, we came to this world to experience separation from source, from God, from universal mind, and that's what we're experiencing. And we experience that within ourselves and project it out onto the world we think we see around us, giving everything a meaning. Right, this person completes me, this situation makes me feel happy, that one makes me feel sad, and we get the results of it ourselves, which is the support and promulgation of a thought system that's dualistic: good and bad, right and wrong, mine and yours, better and worse. You know, you get the idea. So, but throughout all of that, there's a thread, right, that runs through our lives, which, if we pay attention to it, we can follow it and begin to see a common denominator in all our relationships and everything. And that shows up as lessons, really. You know, you see a lot of people, you know, on Facebook and social media, and they say, boy, that taught me a real lesson, you know, going through that situation or event, whatever. And you do have to get the results of your own thinking. That's how we learn. Experience is the teacher, not concepts. My words don't teach you anything. They merely rekindle or reawaken a kind of a knowledge that you have within yourself already. So, in that sense, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But we like to charge around and achieve our goals and conquer things. You know, that's the ego. I want, I need, I must have, rather than I am. So the lessons that are presented to us are always lessons in letting go, so that we can find who we are, letting go of external dependency, letting go of what we think our relationships ought to look like out there in the world with other people, situations and things, and allowing ourselves to be guided from within. And if you've never been guided from within, it's time to make an effort to listen or to accept that there is an internal guidance to you. And some people will call that intuition, and some people may hear an actual voice, and some people whatever it looks like. But it's a simple matter of, when you think you want something or need something, is stepping back and actually asking honestly within yourself, do I want this? Do I need this? How does this benefit the whole? How does this benefit me? You know, and ask these sort of selfless questions. Can I share this with everyone, or is this just something for myself alone? Right? And the path of spirituality is learning to think selflessly rather than learning to think with the ego selfishly. Right? So, and that applies in relationships. You know, we have selfish relationships where we use and manipulate other people for our own comfort and our own sense of self, or our own sense of what we think our purpose on earth is, you know. And these are all just control mechanisms to help ourselves feel secure in a world that we don't understand. Why am I here? What's it all about? Nobody knows, right? I know I've taken a particular divine journey, had an experience of self-illumination, and I've had an answer for myself which tells me 100% squarely that responsibility for my emotional state and responsibility for my my life, everything about it, rests squarely on my shoulders, and that no one's to blame for anything that happens to me. In fact, I'm, they are due gratitude for the lessons that they offer me. And that's a big pill to swallow. That's a big shift in consciousness to put into place. And I won't say it's been easy. It hasn't been easy. It's been hectic at times, really hectic. There's plenty of times that I've looked at that shotgun and thought, you know. But when you look at the big picture, what is life? Why am I here? What's it about? The evolutionary purpose comes to mind. We're here to evolve into something else. We've come from primates or from the swamp, and we're headed to something, maybe to a level of extraterrestrial consciousness or whatever. But spirituality teaches us that we're evolving from a dualistic conscious being, where we think in that yin-yang mindset of opposites, to a singularly conscious being where we are reintegrating back into the whole. So we're coming in having this experience of separation, discovering that we don't like it because everything we try to do here always ends up in shit, and then making a choice for a new way of living, which is a spiritual way of living, which, by the way, has nothing fucking whatever to do with religion. So get that into your head. You know, it's just your way, it's your path, your spiritual process, and it happens in your mind. It doesn't matter how much you pray, how many times you do your bloody your beads, how much you meditate, none of that stuff. All of those things are helpful, but religion would tell you to turn those things into a ritualistic and dogmatic kind of process, and it's not about that, right? Spirituality is about listening within. What do I feel I need to do in this situation? How do I manage myself in this situation, etc.? All of those sorts of things. What should I say? Who should I speak to? All of these kind of questions, and allowing that inner guidance from the spirit within, or from the spirit of wholeness, where you are concerned only with the holistic effect of your presence on earth, to guide you, right? To learning to become selfless. And I guess not everybody wants to run out and become a selfless, a selfless being straight away. I mean, there are people here on their first, second, third, fourth incarnations who are still very oriented towards me, look at me, and I need another car, I need another house, I need that extra whatever it is, as a means of self-validation of worth, which is pointless here because we all die and all end up in the grave together. Until we break that cycle of reincarnative process, that process of I want and I need, which actually keeps us here bound to the physical plane. If you want something here, you'll have to come back here to get it. So just be very careful what you put out. because you'll have to come here again and again, lifetime after lifetime, so that you can get it back. Right? Life is not what you think it is. The idea that we're just people running around like headless chooks doing whatever, it's not true. We're incredibly powerful beings. We have an incredible potential within us to evolve to a next level kind of consciousness within the space of a few short years, if we're willing to apply certain principles to our thinking, and if we are willing to change. And relationships are learning tools for showing us that change is always helpful. And even though we may not like the catalysts for change, my partner left me for someone else, or something happened that's caused, like devastation in my life, that we may not like those things, and it's pretty speeding, and it's pretty standard that we won't. On the other side of those things, anyone who's ever gone through a big period of change will tell you that it was probably the greatest thing that ever happened in their life. So, and there's many people now see change. That's a popular term. Everyone wants to live by the sea, I guess. I don't know if that's the meaning of the term, but... So when changes show up, embrace them. Be grateful for them. Somebody ran off with my wife. It's like, well, I could say from a split-minded perspective that your wife was not a particularly loyal person, and you should probably buy that guy a carton of beer. But you can get on with your life. But that's not what's truly going on, right? Look at it and say, all right, how do I feel? What do I see in this situation? Do I see lack of control, whatever? And recognize within yourself that you have been attempting to control someone, or attempting to control a situation which is now broken away from your control and is out of your, whatever it is to you. Don't let me tell you what that is. I'm just making up a potential possibility of what you might see in something, right? But you have to be honest with it. You have to be how it makes you feel, because it's your healing and your lesson, and an opportunity for you to learn more about yourself and include in more about yourself, even though that may be a bitter pill to swallow. Geez, I'm a controlling arsehole, or whatever it is. And to grow from that, and to enter into the next relationship with a more fulfilled sense of self, so that you don't have those situations showing up again and again. It's like karma is a lesson that repeats again and again and again until we learn it. I'm a crap learner. I'm sure that most of you guys watching this are crap learners. But I'll give you the tip. If you find yourself getting disturbed, if your peace of mind is disturbed by anything, it's a knock on the door from karma. Take it seriously. Don't push it aside. Don't try to pretend it's okay. Ask for help within yourself, or from someone else who you trust, as let's say a more guided person perhaps, or someone who's got their bloody head on straight. And try to look at it holistically. Try to look at the situation that's being presented to you as a lesson, right? It's always going to necessitate that you forgive yourself for your judgments about the lesson, for you to be able to see clearly what it's presenting you as a mirror of your own self, as a mirror of what am I looking at in this person that I hate? What am I looking at in this person that I despise, that I used to love, or whatever? Be honest about it. I mean, envy, jealousy, greed, avarice, lust, gluttony, all the seven deadly... I haven't done what that was, but 7 deadly sins. And more. There are all these little triggers, all these little things that we just tend to gloss over in our lives rather than take responsibility for, as, let's say, character defects within ourselves. We all have them. I have them. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know why anyone would listen to me. It was my choice to come to this planet. How stupid can I get? I made a choice to come here. I'm experiencing the idea of separation. I fucking hate the guts out of it. Can't stand it. I'm pursuing now a path of spiritual enlightenment based on an actual experience of enlightenment that I had, or I'm pursuing a path of purifying my thoughts, which is taking every waking moment and of being vigilant and everything in an attempt to break my bondage with this world, so that at the point of, let's say, death, or the point of laying aside this body, I can escape the bardo states and escape the nature of reincarnation and go onward in the journey of my soul to whatever dimension is next, as I make my way home, let's say, or as I gradually awaken to my true self that I already am in eternity, where I could only ever be if God is whole and perfect and formless and everything and all-encompassing forever. Right? And you'll have to think about that one, I'm sure. So, relationships are learning tools. Yes, it's painful. Yes, welcome to the world. And there's not much I can do to alleviate your pain and suffering. I would if I could. But you have it within you to do it for yourself if you are willing to begin that journey. Right, that's all I can tell you. All right, well, I love you, and good luck with everything. Oh, get yourself a copy of A Course in Miracles. Go online. I'll post the link to my website below here. You can get a free PDF download of it, so you can read it on your phone. If you're one of those people that likes a hard copy, there's a link to the white edition on the website, or you can just Google it, A Course in Miracles, online, and you'll find the Foundation for Inner Peace, that you'll be able to buy the blue book. And there are a couple other versions. Do not confuse it with A Course of Love. That's a load of rubbish. You might like it, you might say it's wonderful, but it's not, in my opinion, anything up there like with A Course in Miracles. And anyone that asks me about it, I always tell them just avoid it like the plague. It's just people trying to feed off. It's even printed out in a very similar manner to the Course in Miracles. So, you know, someone trying to capitalise off something that's already successful with a lesser version of what they think is the same thing. So, oh no, that sounds like judgment. Bad Dave. Alright, well, that's it. I'm at work now. So, relationships are learning tools. Use them as that, and you'll give them another purpose. You'll give your relationships another purpose. Alright, peace.